In a world where the WNBA and women's college basketball media wants to only focus on players that go to UConn, South Carolina, and Juju, there is a player that should be on getting National Player of the Year buzz, and won't, but should be. And there probably won't be a first-team All-American over Paige freaking Beckers. There should be talk about this. Like, Tania Latson. Tania Latson is that level of a player. Heck, there's the old video. The video on this channel about her. That I recorded when I was in my freaking parents' house because I was so shocked about how she played. She was the best. She's the best player in college, and nobody cares about Tania Latson. And what Tania Latson did last night just shows the type of player that she is. Again, everybody being like, "Oh, she's leading Florida State in scoring. She's leading the nation in scoring, and Florida State are really good." Like, people are like, "Oh, Florida State aren't great." They are in the ACC. They're tied. They are tied in conference with North Carolina. They are literally like what? One game? If they had beat, like, they're NC State, they're 2 games back on NC State and Notre Dame in the conference. They're 2 games back on these, and these were not expected to be this good. NC State got their Final Four last year. Notre Dame were number 1 ranked team in the country. And what happens when Notre Dame faces off against them? They beat them. They lost to NC State in a game, but they're after beating Georgia Tech and Notre Dame, 2 ranked teams, and they played Duke in their last game of the season. Like, there's a chance that this team is ranked ahead of Duke in the conference. Duke are ranked 14 in the nation, or 16 in the nation, and they are ahead of Duke in conference play. They are. Why did I think? So who else in all these top level teams? They're competing with them all. They're competing with all of these teams. They're 23-6 on the season. So you can't say, "Oh, her team's bad." Her team's massively outperforming expectations. She's averaging 26 points per game. Like, Tania Latson is averaging 26-4 and 4.8 assists. And 47% from the field and 38% from 3. 38% from 3. She's there. She put up 23 points after a really slow start. She picked it up massively against Notre Dame in their last game. And she was injured in some of the other games. After a couple of weeks layoff, she's come in with 23 points. She's first team All-American, no question about it. And it wasn't that she scored 23, it's how she's scoring. Like, they beat North Carolina. And she goes and hits the buzzer beater. And she came up against she came up against Hannah Hidalgo, and again outplayed Hidalgo. Hidalgo can't shoot at all right now, by the way. Like, the way Hidalgo's been scoring, it's not been good. But she came in. I'm trying to get footage of it. She scored the last 11 points. Like, she should be in the conversation for Player of the Year. And again, like, I'm not saying that she is the Player of the Year. I'm saying that she's in that conversation. And in my personal opinion, over Juju Watkins, yeah. Like, what what Tania Latson's been doing as of right now, like, she should be in the conversation, and she isn't even put in the conversation. I've seen, like, I haven't even seen her listed in the top 5 in Player of the Year. There's no reason why, like, if she's not a first team All-American, the media bias just has to stop. That has to stop. It just has to. She's leading the nation in scoring. She's playing on one of the better teams in the nation. On a team that probably, in the next ranking update, will be up in the top 20 teams in the nation. She's leading them to a way better. Everyone's like, "Oh, she can't be ranked like that high because, well, Florida State aren't a good team." Well, they're a good team now because of Tania Latson. They're a good team now with her. And after missing 3 games, she comes in and carries the team to a win, especially down the stretch. She just needed a little bit of time to warm up. She needed a little bit of time to warm up, and it's just scary what Latson's been doing this year. And we saw it again. Was the ESPN National Player of the Year poll, and they only had, like, the only thing that they had was like, Latson was an honorable mention in the top 5, and I'm like, I can't see it. I can't see it. Like, it was The Athletic, yeah. It was like, based on every single list from the media. I tweeted this out, and this was, again, start of this month. I'd be like, you would think Tania Latson doesn't exist. Like, by the way, Betts, Juju, Hidalgo, and Latson should be the guaranteed 4 first-team All-Americans. And then you go with whether or not Anissa Morrow's there. You might put Paige, the 5th player, there. You might put Paige at 5. Like, there are players that could be in that conversation. But, yeah, like, the fact Tania Latson doesn't freaking exist, according to The Athletic. PB and Morrow off, Miles and Latson on. And, like, Olivia Miles is an interesting one. Every name on this list belongs. Not Lucy. I don't think Lucy Olsen's ever to be there. But where is Latson? And, like, ironically enough, it's like, women's basketball media is like, now suddenly people are watching. The Caitlin Clark, people are like, oh, the Caitlin Clark fans, they're like, oh, you're pushing you're pushing X, Y, and Z players. Like, no, we're watching the games. Like, I've watched Florida State play. I've watched Florida State's women's basketball team play basketball games. Like, I never thought they would be doing that. I was asleep last night for the game. They're not like the Fever where I will stay up to watch them. I'll stay up late to watch them. But I'll watch some of their games if they're on at a reasonable hour, just to watch Tania Latson play. Like, that's the level of player she's at. She is, in my opinion, she has to be. She has to be in the Player of the Year conversation. Because, like, you've got a player that's efficient. She can score. She can score from anywhere. Like, I've said it with the people tanking. I've said lay down for Latson. And it's only going to be a thing next year when Lauren Betts, Flaujae, all these players are in the draft. And the number 1 pick is Tania Latson. She is like a Kelsey Mitchell, Kendi Carter type player. She's too fast. She's too fast. She can shoot the 3 ball. It's not her A game. But she's like almost like full Wiley, but not as wild. Like, Latson should be one of these players. Like, I'm saying it. Like, the Caitlyn haters, and the reason why I call them Caitlyn haters is everyone that's not, all the media that have been trying to beat little Caitlin Clark in the WNBA are the ones ignoring Tania Latson. So it's nothing to do with what the players look like. It's nothing to do with all that stuff. It is literally old guard versus new guard. And the old guard are refusing to look at players unless they go to 3 to 4 colleges. And you're seeing with the people that are just fans of basketball, like, these players are making the right decisions. Her and Full Wiley's a perfect example. She's a year older, but, like, she goes to Florida State and is looking superb. Might go number 1 pick. Full Wiley is the most talented player on South Carolina. Has Dawn Staley, genuinely, Dawn Staley is subbing her off every time she makes a mistake. So, bad decisions. And I think the old guard of WNBA media are going to realize sooner rather than later that, especially guards, I'm not talking about glue guys. I'm not talking about role players. I'm not talking about bigs. I'm talking about star guards are 100 times more beneficial going to a good but not South Carolina or UConn college where they can have some freedom. Bigs don't need that much freedom in general. Guards do. And you're seeing it now what Tania Latson's been able to do. And if the same media are going to not vote her first team All-American, it will be a shambles, because realistically she is closer to play. Like, she should be in that 3-0 conversation. And the only reason there's a conversation for National Player of the Year is because UCLA lost the game. If not, it should be Lauren Betts. Like, National Player of the Year, there's no question, there's no reason it shouldn't be Lauren Betts. But her, Hidalgo, and Betts should be the 3 in the combo, even though the conversation is going to be between Hidalgo and Juju Watkins, because they just want to pretend Lauren Betts doesn't exist as well. But anyway, I'll see you guys.